Bonjour, j'aime la poutine et le balados. I don't know what the hell I just said. I think I just said hello. I like poutine and podcasts, which is definitely that's French Canadian, all right. At least I tried. Speaking of French Canadian,
Absolutely love it.
yeah, thanks, bro. I tried my best. We brought on our French Canadian brother over here, Mr. Kamil Colatosti, who you may or may not know because there's like a cajillion tournaments this weekend. He did top 8 one of them, and it catapulted him into his Worlds invite. So we had to have the boy on the podcast. There's deep lore about Camille and our group and our friend group and stuff. And we've been playing since when? When did we meet Camille? Is my first question.
I met him in 2012. I think you probably met him around the same time then.
2012.
Yeah.
This guy's an old head, bro. You guys want to talk old heads? This guy's an old head.
Yeah, I think it was 2012. I think I met Kieran at like Toronto Provincials, I think.
I think regionals in the fall.
Year. Oh yeah, regionals, and then I know that like you came to Montreal for like a random provincial too that year. I remember, I remember I actually beat you on the win because you flipped like 3 tails off of like laser sleep. That was just
you got a better memory than me. I didn't remember any of that.
It was a wild time.
Yeah,
it was a wild time.
Camille kind of ruined my life for a bit because I played him at nationals that year, the one I won, the one Neil got top 4. And like I knew who Camille was, but Camille and I weren't really friends. And Camille's like, "Oh, do you play this game called League of Legends?" And I'm like, "What is League of Legends?" He's like, "Oh, it's this like game I play. You should play with me." And he gave me his Skype, and then Camille and I started playing a bunch of League of Legends. And all through high school, I would just play League of Legends with Camille like every day after school. So that was very bad, Camille. You wasted years of my life to League of Legends. But it kind of helped to grow.
That's player error, bro. You can't blame him for that. That's player error.
So it's funny. We were joking. So Camille is excited. Congrats on your top 8. But Camille is more excited to be here on the Shift Gear. And just to show you how prestigious Shift Gear is and how there's no nepotism, Camille is my best friend, and I said you cannot come on the Shift Gear until you do something that is Shift Gear worthy. And I'm so excited, Camille, that you've done something that is Shift Gear worthy. So welcome to the Shift Gear podcast.
I just want y'all to know.
Thanks so much.
Oh, sorry, Camille, take your stage, but I got to share something after.
All right. Yeah, no, thanks so much. I mean, it's I've known both of you for so long, and I've always loved the work you do here, and it's I really want to earn my spot, right? And we were talking a while back, and you were like, oh, like top 32 is fine. I'm like, nah, it's gotta be top 8 or nothing. And I'm like, look, I gotta lock in, and I gotta do it, and I'm just really happy that I did it. Honestly, not even just to top 8, but just to like be playing at that higher level that I know that I'm capable of. Like that's what's just important to me. And I'm just very happy to have made Worlds, but it's just a byproduct of the work that I've been doing this year. So I'm just couldn't be happier to be here.
Fantastic work. I'm proud of you. You're going to be at Worlds. I'm actually really excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be hyped.
That'll be good. I want y'all to know, as the audience, this brother top 8'd. I don't know where I was, but it was 7:19 a.m. on a Sunday, and I didn't know he was in top 8. And I opened my phone, I just see in all caps, "Finally, I get a Shift Gear appearance." Hold that, bro. What happened? And then I realized he top gutted. So this brother was more excited about coming on this lame ass podcast than to get his own top 8. So shout out Camille for real. Yeah. Fantastic run.
Yeah, it's like awesome stuff. But speaking of Worlds, Aneil, I have to do a bit of shilling about some stuff I'm excited to announce. Yesterday,
every week this guy's shilling, man.
On Monday, I guess, because we're recording on Tuesday, I launched I'm bringing my summer camp. I'm doing one in Toronto that I've already announced, but I'm doing one at Worlds this year, which I'm really excited to do. I've got a store that I'm partnering with, like 20 minutes from the venue. So we're gonna do 3 days camp. It's for juniors and seniors. I've got a lot of cool stuff planned to help them learn. And I've also invited some guest instructors. So Henry Brand and Henry Chow are gonna be there. Henry's Brand's gonna do a full day. Henry Chow's gonna drop by for an afternoon to kind of like teach. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then also, it's not ready to be launched yet, but we're also going to have a speaker series at Worlds with some of the top players in the game, kind of giving like live, almost like classes or just interactive sessions. Come meet them, ask questions and all that. So I've been working really hard on all this stuff with venues, with all the players in the background. So I'm excited to start bringing some in-person stuff. I think a lot of Pokemon stuff is online, which is great. I mean, I do a lot of that as well. But I really want to start doing some in-person stuff. So I'm really excited to be launching these initiatives at Worlds. And if they go well, I'm hoping I can like bring them to regionals and ICs and stuff as well throughout the
Very
season.
nice.
So.
But when I ask if we can do shift gear in person, I am thrown to the curb.
Well, no, Aneil, because you
I
asked me to do
like
shift
it.
gear in person when I don't have a car like an hour and
I
a
know.
half from my house.
I'm pulling your leg, buddy. I'm pulling your leg. Speaking of which, I'm gonna do some chilling on my own. I'll be hosting a 3-day intensive camp at the bar down the
Let's
street from the New
go.
Orleans Convention Center. I'm gonna bring in special guest Adam Skeen, who's gonna be buying drinks for everybody. And anyone else rich that I can find who'll buy you all drinks. So 3-day intensive camp at the bar down the street from New Orleans
I
Convention
gotta
Center.
sign up for that, Aneil. Put the link in the description for that.
Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Absolutely.
So, but let's jump in, Kamil. Actually, before you get into your run and all that, give people some background. So you're from Montreal, but you've actually been living and playing on the EU circuit, even though you're on the NA leaderboard because of how Pokemon works. So why don't you tell people how you ended up there? And what it's been like maybe playing in Europe this year compared to like traditionally playing in North America for regionals.
Yeah, so I mean, I started playing originally. I think I started playing around like 2010, but I never really played that competitively. I never, I would play a couple regionals, but this is the first year that I did, more than 3 or 4. So I'm from originally, Montreal, grew up there, was there my whole life, and last September. Me and my girlfriend, we just decided to, do the whole live abroad for a year in Europe. So we moved. Now I'm living in Milan. I was very grateful to, have been integrated into the community. Started speaking Italian and stuff. And yeah, I've been playing the EU circuit all year. The only 2 events that I didn't go to were Lille because I missed both waves of registration because that's like a super popular regional, and I also didn't go to Sevilla because it was a bit expensive that weekend. Like there was like a national holiday. That was actually also the weekend of all the huge power outages in Spain. So honestly, maybe I'm just lucky that I didn't go. But yeah, so I've done like Utrecht was my 7th one, and then I'm gonna do Bologna, which is gonna be the 8th one. It's been very interesting actually playing the EU circuit. I feel that I've had somewhat difficult time adapting to, how to metagame. I think that there were a lot of tournaments where I played the best deck or, like the proclaimed BDIF, but I don't think I played it to a high enough level to be able to see success. But for this tournament, I think my preparation was much more thorough, and I really wanted to play Gardevoir because I had been playing Gardevoir since EUIC. I top 64'd Stockholm with Gardevoir, and Gardevoir has my heart, but my mind was just saying, like if I needed to spike for Worlds, and I was like, look, Dragapult is very consistent. If you put time into it, it's somewhat linear, somewhat if you learn all the damage, the matchups are very very straightforward, but with a lot of ability to to create a lot of favorable board states and just be an insane comeback deck playing all the most broken cards in the format. So I was like, look, I'm just going to send Dragapult. Prepared a lot, played a bunch of games, and just just hit some lucky matchups, and here we are.
Nah, man, it was skill based. Come on now.
Yes.
I agree with 99% of what you said. I do think the one thing I disagree with is like the idea that the matchups are linear. I find that with this deck, like every matchup you're in is kind of like a dogfight, and most of the time they don't go according to plan or according to how you chalk it up in your head.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with all the rest of what you said, and I think you've been putting in a lot of time. We were chatting, I think, a couple months ago about like Dragapult and stuff when you were just picking it up for the first time, and I think one of the things I told you is like, this is one of those decks, like you put in the time, you're going to get the results kind of thing. And I think you prove that. And you're obviously a good player. You're able to pilot this in the correct way. But when you start with it, it is a little rough when you first start picking up the deck. It takes a little while to get used to it. But it seems like you did a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, that was something that was, absolutely true. Especially because I originally started playing Dragapult. I was like playing the Dustmore version. And that was like very explosive, very aggressive. You just take over games. And then I started playing like the the non-ghost Dragapult, and it took me definitely a few weeks to actually like start winning games, because I was just like, man, I'm not really sure how to play. I just felt like I was super slow, and I just felt like I didn't have any explosiveness. But yeah, as you said, like, in the games, there's so many different lines. You have so many different options, and yeah, you're just using the best attack with just a lot of consistency, right? You're just just airmail. It's broken.
Nice. And then, yeah, so I know you and I talked a lot about your deck leading up to the tournament,
Mhm.
your list, the cards. So it
Yeah.
feels like the format is very anti-Dragapult. Like, everyone knows that Dragapult is like the best deck. Everyone's like, you need to have a good Dragapult matchup. So I think a lot of people are scared to play it, but we keep seeing Dragapult do well. So you have this kind of like weird thing where you're trying to navigate, like, well, there's the rise of the aggro decks, like the Raging Bolts and the Joltik box, to try and put pressure on Dragapult. And it's like, do you adjust your list to deal with that? Add some speed. Well, but then if I add too much speed, then I'm bad against the slower decks, or I have a worse matchup against Mirror and Gardevoir, for example. So what was your approach to this tournament in terms of like building the deck? Because we see most people are playing like heavy counts of Brox and Jacques, and you actually just play one Brox scouting, no Jacques, and you opted for like the Professor's Researches instead. So you kind of walk me through your thought process of how you ended up there.
Yeah, so originally I had, started playing mostly, basically Rowan's list from Atlanta that he had done well, and like Tanner Hurley had done well, which is very, very similar. I had played a bit of, I played a bit of like Makani's and so on, and I, going into this tournament, I knew that, I mean, Dragapult has had a target on its back, this whole format, but I knew that especially in EU, people I feel are like more inclined to maybe not play the BDF, which is something that like I don't really understand that much, because as we've seen, like Dragapult, it wasn't. I think day one it was 15%, which is like a little bit lower than it's been. But it's been steadily dropping, and I think, I really didn't want to lose to Joltik Box, and I really didn't want to lose to Raging Bolt, because those were two matchups where I was like, look, in a lot of the other matchups that are slower, the Mirrors, the Gardevoir, there's a lot of ability to express skill, and there's a lot of, ways that I can try and like, manipulate the prize trade. But if Joltik Box just takes two prizes when I have no Draco, it's like I just lose, right? So, the initial list, I was testing like multiple Brock, I was testing multiple Jacques, and the biggest problem for me was if I was playing against these turbo decks and I was not like Arvin chaining in the first few turns, the game was like very, very hard, because there are a lot of matchups, like a lot of the Noctowl matchups and a lot of the Joltik box matchups specifically. You need to be like Arvining for like Poff and Board, and then you need to be Arvining for like Cape Stamp, or else the matchups get really, really bad really, really fast, especially if you're like whiffing energies, which are somewhat hard to find with this deck. Especially, I felt like I was just whiffing the energy so much. Yeah, that was like the general idea. I really wanted to beat the turbo decks, and I wanted to have like a very good matchup spread. I did take a bit of a worse mirror for sure, and I ended up like losing top 8 to Alberto, who is one of my local players, and she's an amazing player. And he was playing a list with double Brock, double Jacques, which is better in mirror, and he was also playing more energy, so he was able to string those attacks off a bit more. End up losing sudden death, but it's fine. The last thing I want to mention about my list was were the two Artisan. This is something that me and Rowan talked about, and also me and you, Kieran, before the tournament, and I just wanted to like win Stadium Wars. There's a lot of random jamming towers going on in like all the Noctowl decks are playing jamming tower. If like Bulb drops jamming tower early and you just don't find Stadium, you're just never going to attack ever. So I really want to get max value out of Cape, and I really want to be like aggressively winning the Stadium War. And another thing that I think is not talked about enough is that I went first so many games this weekend. Like it was insane. Like every time you lose a flip, you're going first. And you know, my deck plays no nest ball, and it's just like if I don't open Poffin, you're just like you are just in a bad situation, right? So the two artisans really really helped, right? Because it's it was essentially like it was more or less like playing like two nest balls, but a bit of trade off, right? So that's the general idea, and I was rewarded, right? I was rewarded with the matchups, and I just played well into those matchups, and my deck functioned. Yeah.
You kind of already touched on this a little bit, but I just wanted to follow up. One of my personal beefs with Rowan and Tanner's list, albeit it's a fantastic list and obviously very durable, one of my beefs was the whole energy situation and the fact you have to trade in Vessel for E-Search. Like I found myself using Vessel so often because that one Arvin turn of searching Vessel gets me to my attack. I don't have to search again for another energy, whatever. One of my beefs was always kind of the way the energies panned out and stuff. You already touched on the fact that you found that you were struggling to find energies at times. How bad was that struggle, and was it bad enough that you would consider, I don't know, adding another energy or switching the builds altogether if you were to play this again?
Yeah, I think it's weird because there are a lot of games where you triple Draco like 3 games in a row and find no energies, but you like still end up winning because like your one Dragapult survives. But I think, like weirdly enough, the energy search was kind of mid for me the whole tournament. Like the item that searches energy, I thought it was going to be, I thought it was needed. I thought it was much better, but I just never really used it. So I think I would definitely play 8 energy. Like I would play the 4th Luminous for sure. I don't know if I would play Vessel. Like I was thinking of just cutting the E-Search for the Luminous just because I don't know, like mid game I want to try to be using Iono, and I just want to be playing like more energy to like Dracloak into them, especially under item lock in Mirror. Like the E-Search is like useless. So I think that could improve Mirror a bit. But like as you said, like the Vessel is super strong because it gets you right to that attack, right? But I just found that it was, especially going first, I found that I was required to do too much aggressive discarding with like my Ultra Balls, right? If you have like an Ultra Ball, nothing else, like you have to discard, and it was just very hard to find like that extra discard for the Vessel. So the energy search was fine, but I think moving forward, I'd actually cut it all together and just play 4 Luminous and just 2/2. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I think you're talking like a lot of sense. Like it makes sense. Like Arvining for E-Search or Vessel always feels like kind of mediocre. Like you said, I guess if you just draw through the course of the game, like you'd rather just be an energy. I almost wonder if you play 4 Luminous than 4 basics. It's you might like draw 2 Luminous too often. But I mean, I think it's fine because it's like the other versions of Dragapult used to play like 3 Fire, 3 Psychic. So it's kind of like playing. It would be kind of similar to playing like 4 Psychic, 4 Fire, which is definitely more consistent. So. My last question, Camille, is one of Brock's scouting even worth it? Like, are we drawing this guy? Or, like, should we just be playing something else?
Yeah, I think, it was interesting. Like, there were, like, some games where, Brock scouting, like, you find a mid-game, it's super strong. It's in your opening hand, it's super strong. Like, I just enjoy the card because it's very versatile. So, I would definitely play it over something like Jacques. I like the research. They allow you to aggressively thin a bit more. I'm not even sure. Like maybe going forward, I would try and like cut them. Just maybe play more Brock, maybe play more Jacques to kind of be a little bit stronger into the mirror because I just felt like against turbo matchups, I'm trying to Arvin chain, and against Badoo decks, I'm I don't really want to research anyway, right? Because I'm just going to be like Dracloak and I'm gonna be stacking my hand. The Brox was fine. Like I was considering changing it, but I couldn't find a card that I wanted to play more than that Brox or like that was better than Brock in that spot. Because I wouldn't want it to be a Jacques because I think someone made a post about it, but like you lose way more games when you have Jacques, but you want it to be Brock than the other way around. So I just didn't want to take that chance. Um, Especially because I didn't want to make my mirror any worse than I already was, because I was just not playing that like heavy supporter Dracula, right? So
Yeah, that's the first thing that stood out to me when I looked at this. I just have
Mhm.
one question before we move on. Talk to me about Genesect. How did it feel?
Yeah, Genesix is super interesting because EU in general, I feel like they love Goldango, and
Yeah.
that is true. Like there are a lot of Goldango fans, and there are a lot of very very strong Goldango players. So I think without Genesect, Goldango is like very unfavored. I think it's very very bad matchup. So I played it mostly for that. It was good for me um, in the mirror. As you know, it's like leading up to like the stamp turn. It's good. I didn't find too much use out of it, but it's something that I would definitely continue to play just because um, yeah, unfair stamp is pretty strong, and also there are some situations where I found like if I would just randomly have Genesect and a tool in my opening hand, like my win rate would increase a lot. Like if I just had it randomly against like EV box, I was like, oh man, like this actually fine. Or if I just had this against like Joltik, and it would just be like, oh well, they can't prime catcher, remove some options, but um, yeah, I think I would keep it. You could cut it, but nah, I think I would keep it.
You're describing a win more card, and I think that's exactly what it is.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I
yeah,
mean,
it's a
like,
win more. Yeah,
I don't think it's win more because I think like Golden Go is definitely like unfavored without it. I think it flips the favored.
yeah.
I think Joltik box. I actually think Genesec's like extremely good against Joltik box because you take out like 5 gusting outs from them. Like Arvin's and Prime Catcher like can't get you gust.
Yeah,
And like
yeah. The Joltik, yeah,
I was like
I would
the
just
thing with
argue that those two
Genesec.
slots are so precious, man. Like
It was not 2 slots though.
the
It's just one.
well, Genesis, you have to play more tools because of
You
it.
don't have to play more tools. Like you could realistically play 3 and still fit this guy in.
Are you
you
playing
could.
4 though? If you're not playing Genesect, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so. I
Um,
mean, Charm for Badu Wars, Cape for like the Baby Bolt, and like
yeah, the charm could be cut possibly, but I like the charm. Yeah, I think I would still play 4 tools actually,
For
just
sure.
because like the XP share is like basically your Crispin, and
Yeah,
like
you
the
don't play Chris.
charm cape board are all feel pretty. Like the cape especially, like the cape is so broken
Board,
in
I
so
think,
many
is a
matchups.
staple.
yeah,
I think
board
you
is
need
like
the
there's no
XP
way.
share. Yeah, you need the XP share
EXP
if
share
you don't
you can
play
get
Crispin.
away without it, but like I know Hedrick's group they don't play
Yeah,
EXP share or Crispin. I don't
That's
know if I
wild,
agree
bro.
with that, but yeah, I like EXP share, and I think you need one of Charm or Cape. Like otherwise you're gonna lose Badu Wars. But I mean Cape on Badu feels so bad. Like I hate putting Cape on Badu.
It's nasty. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not good.
So
yeah. Cape on Badu feels bad, but like cape on Dracloak into Terra Box or cape on Dracloak into Raging Bolt is
even into
like,
Joltik
oh,
box, it
I'm
protects
gonna
you from
win.
hands. Like
So
against
good,
Gardevoir, it protects you from
so
the
good,
Mew play.
so good.
I like Cape.
Especially in mirror too. Like game, you put it on like a Dracloak or you put it on a monkey. Like it's very hard for them to like take prizes off the bench. Very
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
difficult.
Oh. All right, let's look at your matchups, Camille, real quick. When I was looking through them, surprisingly, you hit like no mirror until top 8, unless you consider Pult Zard mirror. Oh, you hit Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Shout out the goat.
Yo, Muhammad Ali, let's go.
Yeah,
You lost round 1 to Frostlash, and then after that, you went on like a crazy run here. You won 9 of your next 11 with the 2 non-win rounds being ties. And I know
Yeah.
when I saw your tweet or you sent me your matchups, like a lot of your rounds were going 3 games. So tell me how you were able to avoid tying so much with this deck.
yeah. This is. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to shout you out for probably inspiring my round 1 opponent to beat me. It's a bad matchup, but yeah. Anyway, I think the 3 games was really interesting because this is a slow deck. Like this is a slow deck, and it's even slower when you're whiffing energies because if you have 2 energy on board and you're going into Phantom Dive, like you're in dire situations. So I think I was like identifying correctly, like when I needed to scoop. I was like trying to scoop like really early game 1 if I was losing, and I was scooping like turn 2, turn 3, but also I think I was just playing fast. And this is something that like I just had a lot of reps with the deck. So games 2 and 3 in a lot of sets, I was just playing fast. Like I wasn't really like prize checking. I was like just I was prize checking like the couple few important cards in the matchups, but I was just playing really, really fast because I just played a lot of the deck and I just knew what I wanted to do. So, just like Draco, attach energy, play supporter, Itchy Pollen, pass, and then just do it again. Like, so I was just playing fast. And also that's something that like I'm proud of as a player. Something that I've improved on is um, just being able to have like that mental resilience in like very important moments. And there's like 25 minutes left on. You just lost a game one, and like you have to win, right? Like you have to win, and you're playing a deck that takes like 35 minutes to win. So there were a lot of situations where I just, you change your game plan, right? You stop Itchy Polling, you start Phantom Diving turn 3. Like that's just what you have to do sometimes. So I think I was just able to, capitalize on those opportunities, and just like always try and play to my outs. And yeah, I'm pretty surprised that I was able to win like so many 3-game sets, even after losing game one. But
Yeah, you
I
had
think I just
four rounds where you lost the first game and won in 3, which is really impressive. You're winning into cut, you're winning into day 2 as well. So these are like high pressure matches. So I kind of want to ask you, Kamil, here, like, so this is your first, I think, big run in Masters. Did you feel pressure like on the way up? Like, did you feel like in day 2, like each win as you got closer? Like maybe around 12, like the difference between winning around 12 is like legitimately, I'm not exaggerating, like 140 or 60 championship points. So I don't know, how did you deal with the stress or the pressure as you were making your way like through your run?
Yeah, I think I went into day 2 at 5-1-2, which is okay, like not not the best. So I knew that to even have a chance at ASIM, I had to go 4-0. So whenever I'm playing tournaments, I'm really just trying to focus on like one game at a time, because I'm someone like who tends to like start thinking too much in the future, and then I just start playing bad, and then I'm just my mind is elsewhere. I'm thinking about I'm gonna get worlds if I top 8, or if I win like all my rounds. I'm just trying to play for the next game. That's something that's really, really helped me. And I don't know, day 2 I just felt like I was, it was my run. The cards were being drawn in the right order, and I was just hitting like, matchups where I was drawing well, and I felt in control, and it just felt like, it was, it was my time it was just my time to make a run, and I'm glad it worked out. I think the most nervous that I felt was in like game 3 of top 8, just because like that was a bit of a different stage than like Swiss. Like I had never experienced that in in Masters, so that was a bit of a different vibe. But I felt like I can compete. Like I could compete at the top tables, and that was like super important to me. That really meant a lot to me, and it was amazing to like play someone that I already knew. But it was definitely some moments where I was freaking out. As you said, winning into day 2, down a game, 25 minutes left on the clock. Same thing happening in my win into top 8. But just always trying to win, right? Like just always trying to win. That's something that's so important, especially in this game. Like there's sometimes I don't know how to explain it, but there's a very sometimes often physical aspect about the game. Like I hate to just call it like it's. I would probably just call it aura, right? It's just like you're no, it's like cringe to say, but I think there's something like physical about the game, and sometimes you just want it more.
Yeah. The one thing I noticed this year, and I don't know if you guys noticed this as well, you guys have all, like, we've all been on deep runs this year specifically. Like, I find that by the time you realize how good you're doing, the tournament's almost over. Like, because it's so short now. Like, I found like the 4-round day 2 is like crazy. Because especially if you go in at 5-2-1 or something like that, like your dreams of top cut are kind of a long shot, right? It's not really in your head. You're like, okay, I'm playing to win each round. We'll see where I go. And by the time you're 3-0, you're like, damn, that flew by pretty fast. So it almost doesn't give you the chance to overthink. And like for a guy like, well, guys like you and me, Camille, like our first top eights were this year. Like we have
Mhm.
all normally, like if it was a 6-round day two, we have all the time in the world to overthink and maybe play yourself out of a good spot into a bad spot. But because it's 4 rounds, you're blinking and you're there, right? Like it definitely helps a little bit. I think the first time I felt it was at Worlds this year, where I had like no chance.
Mm.
Then I was in running for top 16 like instantly because you get lucky a couple times, like the cards kind of go your way, and instantly all
Yeah.
that's kind of out the window. I don't know if you kind of felt that change as well between 4 and 6 rounds, but was that maybe a beneficiary to your run here?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think like the difference, even the difference between day one and day two, like the rounds get paired much quicker. Everything is just faster, right? So, and especially because we were both playing slow decks, right? Like we're going to time a lot of the like. There's almost no downtime, right, between rounds. So, as you said, like we
It
can't
helped.
even overthink if we want to,
Yeah,
right? Because we just have to we just have to like start playing cards, right? So,
absolutely.
yeah, it actually does help. Like on one point, I'm like, oh, like maybe this is like, bad, won't be able to like mental reset, but for me, it's way better because if I have too much time to think, I'm just gonna get it in my own head. I'm just gonna start playing worse. So it's
Nice.
just yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's like you said, things are going away. Like I always say, is like you have to like seize your chances. Like Neil said, like I think the reason the tournaments fly by so fast, like the margin for error is like razor thin at these tournaments. Like you can't lose more than like after Camille lost round or tied round 4, if he lost one more time, like he can't make top cut, right?
Right.
And like just the way Pokemon works is just like you're not gonna get lucky all your tournaments. If you play like 20 tournaments, like maybe like 5 of them, like you get really good draws. It's like you have to make those count. Like you gotta play well and take advantage of those opportunities. So I'm really glad you did that, Camille. So like, what was that feeling like when you won round 12? Did you know you were going to be like straight into cut? Did you know it was clean? Did you think it was asim? Where was your head at there?
Yeah, it was crazy because after I won, I was just like, you know, I don't know. I was just like, oh, I just went 4-0. Like this is the best I could have done, right? And I originally thought it was going to be asim because like there were a lot of tables around the top that were like a lot of 8-1-2, but it ended up happening that like all the 8-1-2s lost. So I was just like last cut into seed, um, last seed into cut, and just end up being completely clean. And like it's so funny because if you like look at the sheet in my post, like my opponent's win rate is so much lower than everyone else's because I lost round one
Yeah.
and went into day two at 5-1-2. Like mine is like at 54, and everyone else is like 66, right? So I mean I'm like playing marginally worse opponents, but I think that's somewhat evened out by like the amount of games that I have to win in a row because I went like from 0-1 to 9-0-2 or like 9-1-2. So I had to basically just like go basically undefeated in 11 rounds, which is it has to be your day to do that, even if you're a really good player. So um, yeah, it was a pretty crazy moment for me. I was super happy, but I wasn't like content. I really wanted to keep going, and yeah, played my heart out in top eight. Lost a close game in sudden death, but happens. Can't win them all. But I will out myself that in game three of top eight in sudden death, I forgot an XP share trigger, which was horrible to my run, but like I would have whiffed anyway, which is probably better because now I can actually be like, okay, it's fine, I whiffed, but you know, it, and like it's still possible, right? Because I made a lot of mistakes
Yep.
over the run, right? And like there were definitely mistakes, and can't play perfect. But just being able to reflect on them, and just being able to be like, this is where I need to improve on, and yeah, like game three, top eight, yeah, the pressure got to me, and I just, I was just stressed, and I just missed something.
Well, at
But
the
it
end of the day,
happens,
man, you
and
still got to text us, hold that, give me my shift gear parent. So all is
exactly,
right in the world.
exactly, all is right in the world. Exactly.
You're good.
So, yes, big congrats, Camille. I wish I could have been there to witness it, but I'm very excited you'll be at Worlds this year. 12
Yeah,
years
very,
between
very excited.
Worlds. Like that's crazy.
Crazy.
I put in the tweet when I did it with you. This is a photo of me and Camille
Yeah.
last time we were at Worlds.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That
What a
was
wa-
my first Worlds.
Beards did you fellas pretty good there, right? You like
Yeah,
our
I know,
beards?
it's so crazy.
I always laugh because you can tell Camille's French Canadian because his beard is so well groomed. Yeah, all French Canadians I know have the most like well groomed beards, and there's like me and Kieran, we got our scruffs on our face, but this guy's done up nice, man. We're all three of us are glad we hit puberty, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
boom.
anything for the shift gear.
The one of me and Kieran is worse. It's like
yeah,
the child photo.
I don't have it like on my computer readily available.
Thank God.
I posted a while ago on
Thank God.
Twitter. You guys can find it. Yeah, there were some other tournaments I want to talk about around the world quickly. Brent Tonneson wins again with his same list, and like this is insane. Like when we do the Shift Gear Award show this year, like I already know what the 60 of the year is going to. It's the Brixty.
Yeah, this is just so crazy, man. Like,
yeah, I think he's up to. I was looking at this yesterday because I was talking to some people. He's up to 51,000 in prize money this year.
Pretty
which is
good.
Insane.
He's just. I mean, look at this. He has like way more top 8s than non-top 8s, which is just crazy.
If I'm reading this correctly, I think he needs to get top 4 at the regionals to get points.
I think I think he actually is. He's BFL top 8.
So
that is nuts.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah,
right?
his worst finishes are 2 top 128s. I think he's only missed one day 2 all year, if I'm remembering correctly. So just insane consistency, and it shows there really is a ceiling in this game. Like it's crazy. So I was thinking about this, and we'll talk about this when we get to our award show eventually. Who's your MVP if the season ended today? Is it Henry Chow or is it Brent Tonneson?
Tough, eh? It's really tough. It's like a Jokic SGA debate before the playoffs. That's tough. I don't even know.
That
Well,
is
like,
tough.
how can you say no to this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? It's like we got an IC second in here as well. We have multiple decks. The one thing I will give Henry is his regionals were way bigger in attendance than the ones that Brent won. And there's more top players there. I'm obviously not downplaying what Brent did. I'm just giving the argument for Henry. So I'm curious what you guys think, actually, in the comments. Let us know who you would say is MVP as of right now. And the NAIC might be the decider of who gets to be the season MVP. But yeah, this is crazy to see. It's like a random Archilad on here.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's
feeling edgy that day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything else crazy happened here. There's like this, it's funny, Utrecht was all Dragapult, Melbourne was all Gardevoir. And I mean, it's just because all the good Australian players played Gardevoir. You saw like Natalie here, Jeremy. Daichi, the Japanese players, always go to Melbourne, or to Australia. Daichi's list was very weird when I looked at it. There's like Badu in here, there's no Blood Moon. There's Briar. Briar's kind of interesting because I actually think it helps a lot against the 2 prize decks because you can like knock out their like Joltik or Fan Rotom or like Hoot Hoot or whatever, and then you just like Briar at the end to fix the prize map. Go 1, 2, 3. So I guess he traded the Blood Moon for the Briar. I just find Blood Moon so good in Terra Box, but really interesting build here. From Daichi. You got top 4.
The one really interesting thing coming out of this regional is there's that guy who always posts the really funny decklist photos.
Oh, Tim?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Tim Danklin?
He was like, he was. I don't know if you can show it on here. It's kind of foul, but
is it? It's not that bad. It's fine.
He's at the pisser. Let's see. Where is it here?
Yeah, here with Aiden Koos.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah,
this is next level.
This is so funny.
For all of our Spotify listeners, he's at a urinal. And there's a deck list on the floor. On the ground of a dirty ass bathroom. There's a deck list photo. And I'm pretty sure that's the top 8 mat too, so that thing is soiled.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have watched Tim's YouTube, but like he's basically becoming like the wolf of TCG. Like he has like the same video format and like he's just like growing like crazy. Like I actually think he has the chance to like become mainstream in the TCG. Like his videos are super good, super high quality. So if you guys haven't watched them, you should definitely watch them on his channel. They're very good.
Seems like an interesting guy to say the least.
Yeah, he's really like that's what he does. Like he like leans into the comedy. He's like really good at it.
Yeah,
I love it.
So also,
we need more of that.
Big shout out Koos because he kept my op out of cut. So Love you, Koos.
Sure. Respect.
All right. Anything else in Melbourne? There's a Walls deck in top 16. I saw that. I was like, I have not seen this deck in time.
I forgot that existed.
Exactly, right? So, and there's one in top 32 as well. Were they playing the same list? Were they friends? Yeah, they were. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Top 32 with the Walls.
Yeah, I just don't know how you beat. I just don't know how you beat Gardevoir.
You don't.
Like ever. Like ever.
Like I'm sure if I go to Limitless Labs and check those guys' matchups against Gardevoir, let's see if they hit any. So 12th, lost to Gardevoir. 19th,
Tied Iron Thorns.
lost to Gardevoir.
Yeah.
Classic.
But I mean, like, if you're beating
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
else and you just don't hit Gardevoir, like, hey, it's a valid strategy, right? So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Joltik Box is auto too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So that's a
yeah,
good
it's
matchup
pretty
to
fun.
have. We had a regional in Chile as well. Big shout out to the homie
We
Julian.
gotta talk about this. Yeah.
For getting second place.
Goat.
We're proud of you. Goated. Shift Gear alumni.
I
But
feel really bad. Can I quickly read what he sent me? He texted me this on Saturday night. Full disclosure, I was like blitzed on a boat party, so I didn't really know what was going on. But he texted me on Discord, and I didn't respond yet, so I gotta do that. He goes, "Do you need another Raging Bolt on the podcast this week?" This is Saturday
he
night.
sent that to me too. I responded for us, so
Yeah.
don't worry.
I'm winning the regionals tomorrow, so and I just didn't say anything.
That's
I thought
actually
he was
Oh, he sent
crazy.
you on Saturday night. That's crazy.
That's
Saturday
I
night.
didn't realize that I'm winning the regionals. part.
8:31 Eastern time. He said, "I'm winning the regionals
Oh,
tomorrow."
that's
I
mad
love it.
aura.
That's it. Calling the shot. Getting second is acceptable when you're calling a shot like that. Mad respect.
We'll accept it. We'll accept
Yes,
it.
mad respect. I
If
rate
he
it.
like didn't already have an appearance and Camille didn't go crazy this weekend, he was definitely.
Oh,
coming
yeah,
on
he
the
was gonna
pod.
be the
We'll
guest
find
for
another
sure.
time.
We'll
Yeah,
find-
yeah, we'll find another time.
Well, he said that when he wins NASC and his mom makes day 2, they can come together on the podcast.
No, we need to get his mom on. Like, we need Tanya on soon, man.
Yeah, Tanya,
She's
we're waiting
actually
for you
the
to day
goat.
2. We're waiting for
Every
you.
tournament, she comes up to me. She's like, "All right, this is the status. Like, this is what's going on. I'm 1 win off, or I'm 2 wins off, and every time I feel like it gets closer."
Yeah, no,
So
it is.
once Tanya breaks through,
Yeah, like I said, you got to
That
earn
would-
your shift gear appearance. You don't just get to come on the pod. So
For a
Tanya,
family
we're rooting
episode.
for you to earn it. So
yeah,
yeah, I wanted to talk briefly about the list that won Santiago. William Azevedo won. Like, I think he's actually one of the most like underrated people in the game. Like, this guy just like wins
I agree.
regionals like there's no tomorrow. Just like
So
he
good.
plays in Latam, so people just don't know him as much. He played TM Evo Guardy, which I actually think is really good. I think Dragapult is not like a slam dunk matchup for like Brent's list because like you have to like only play 2 Curlias and like draw them naturally. So I guess this TM Evo build is kind of like trying to improve that, you know, give you like additional ways to evolve to Curlia against Dragapult. Because if you get set up in that matchup quick enough, like it's very, very difficult to lose. I thought this was a cool innovation. I know Pedro Portuzzi, another great player. He got top 16, I think. Yeah, 13th place with the same list over there. So, yeah, I just wanted to give that a call out because it'll be interesting if we see. Because I think like Brent's list has just been like that's the default. Like if I sit down at a tournament and I play Gardevoir, like I just assume they're playing Brent's list. But now we have another high level player with like a first place list that people can copy as well. So it'll be interesting now if Guardy divulges a little bit, and now we start seeing more lists like this. So
Yeah, something that's really interesting about like the Guardy discourse has been, I mean, like I've been playing Dragapult and like the Guardy matchup, everyone talks about it like it's much more favored into Dragapult than it actually is. Like, I mean, the Brent list is, I mean, it's pretty bad into Badoo, right? Like your deck is just all items, and like that's the thing that I found. Like I went 101 into Guardy this weekend, and one of those Guardies that I tied was actually Evo Guardy. He was playing like the Evo Guardy with like the Blunder, and yeah, Guardy's just very, very susceptible to Badoo. So I like the Evo, but I also like the Mew EX. Like I think Mew EX swings Dragapult way more than the Evo does, because if you just like, even if you enter the Badoo war with a charmed Mew, Badooing their Badoo, like what does Dragapult do? Because if they attack into the Mew, they just get one shot and a Dracloak dies on the bench. It's, I don't know, it was something that I like saw Henry Chow talking about, was like even the Itchy Pollen War. But even just like taking 3 prize on Dracloak is just so good. Evo, yeah. Evo seems good. Honestly, I would try this list for Portland.
Yeah. I think it's definitely super solid. Because I was looking while you're talking to me, like Gardevoir, like it barely has a winning matchup against straight Pult. It has a higher win rate against Dusknoir version, which I'm kind of surprised. I feel like Dusknoir should be better against it.
The narratives are so incorrect, man. People just make up stuff sometimes. I don't think I can play Gardevoir though, because it has a 21% win percentage into end Zoroark, and I can't live with that.
True.
Sorry guys, it's the deal breaker. 21.51. Can't live like that.
That's crazy at 21.5.
That just looked hilarious to me. I just had to point that out somehow.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Your whole deck's weak to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the tournaments around the world. The other thing that I thought was jokes is there's a great Tusk mill in top 16 at Santiago.
Oh really? I didn't see this.
Yeah. With Fan Rotom to Dunsparce to draw cards. Neutralization Zone.
Crushing Hammer too.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that the Roaring Moon decks have been like picking up a little bit of steam. Like the one with the Dunsparce and Neutralization Zone. So yeah, Neutralization Zone seeing some shine in these rogue decks. So super cool.
What does that ticket thing do on the bottom left?
Take the top 6 cards of your deck, or take your prizes and like trade them with that many cards on top of your deck. Yeah. So
it was like the boneless heavy ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting mechanic. Do you guys think like the moon deck has like a lot of merit? I know like Aiden Koos has played it to a couple.
Probably does
tournaments.
Like it probably is favored into Gardevoir. Like it's probably favored into Dragapult.
Yeah.
Like some Dragapults don't even play stadiums, so it's like.
Exactly.
See if
I was very lucky to play double Artisan when I hit the Dun Moon on my winning, and that was.
Right here. I mean, the sample size is so low for the data, but
it's tiny. When I was playing Joltik in Milwaukee, I was a victim to a neutralization zone. Ever since then, I will always respect that card.
Wow.
There's no worse feeling than your opponent being like neutralization zone, and you being like,
"Oh, I'm
going to lunch."
Yeah. Like, okay,
it's actually super numbers, losing into Dragapult.
It's losing to Dragapult. So maybe if Dragapult has Stadium, like they lose, but like I guess.
I think that's the matchup.
Like the guy who played it at Monterey, I'm sure he won so many games because people like were not expecting neutralization zone to come down. But like now, if you play against the Dunsparce or Roaring Moon, like you know the ace spec is neutralization zone, so you know to hold your thing. So, super interesting stuff there. Yeah, just to close out today, guys, I thought we could do a quick "Am I in the wrong?" because we're a bit behind, Aneil, on my backlog of doing these.
Yeah.
So I have one here. It says, "Hey guys, how's it going? Go Habs go!" By the way, Aneil. You can tell how long ago this was. This was before.
This person says I'm disagreeing with it. Like,
this was before the Leafs had their crash out.
Oh man.
Go Habs go.
Am I in
die by your team?
Yeah, no, that's embarrassing, bro. Take that off.
How is that embarrassing? It's more embarrassing if I did because we lost.
No,
crash out, bro. Crash out.
They suck.
Brother, come on. Don't make me bring the Raptors into this. Carry on.
What do you mean? My team has a ring in our lifetime.
So my team has 12.
In our lifetime, bro?
Bro, that
I don't even know if the Leafs have a ring in your parents' lifetime, bro.
They don't. It's off by 1 year.
Yeah, there you go. Like that's crazy.
That's not criteria for franchise success,
bro. Come on.
At least the Canadians have At least the Canadians have a Stanley Cup final. So
yes, exactly.
That 93 one was bogus, but anyways, carry on. I wasn't even alive, and I know that.
All right. At a cup a week ago, I hit an opponent that would only ever stare at the clock during my turn and ask me every time without fail to make an action if I had surpassed 15 seconds or so. I was on Pult and really wanted to better my sequencing and counter placements, and they were on Bolt. It was the craziest game I've ever played. My heart rate was through the roof because I felt the need to match the speed of my opponent and make my actions faster. Final few turns of the game, I make a few misplays and wanted to take my time to ensure I could find a winning line. My opponent asked me to make an action once again. I just asked them to chill for a quick sec, upon which they threatened to call a judge. Thankfully, I was able to win the game with 20 minutes left in the round, no less, but it felt uncomfortable all the way through. Am I in the wrong for asking them to not obey the clock so strictly? I acknowledge I could have played faster at the beginning, but it played zero effect in our best of one match, and felt so my opponent was using the clock for mind games. I feel, though, it's tough for me to have a valid defense when the rulebook is the thing being thrown at me.
No, you can start.
But he was...
The guy getting asked to play faster.
Pressuring him to place... But this was best of one.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know, I mean, like, my thing is, like, okay, like, your opponent probably sounded very rude. But, like, you might have been taking too long to take an action. Like, if you're consistently taking 15 seconds every action, like, I think that is actually excessive. I think, like, if you take, like, 30 seconds, even a minute to think, and then you play, like, 6 or 7 cards in a row, like, that's fine. Like, I've heard a lot of high-level judges talk about that. I think when we had Raph on the pod, he mentioned that, too. But a lot of judges kind of, like, that's kind of how they feel. If you're going to think, then do everything together. So yeah, your opponent might have been being rude. I mean, it's hard for us to tell because I wasn't there at the cup to watch you play. But I mean, if that happens and your opponent's rushing you, just call a judge over and be like, hey, look, this is a situation. My opponent's not happy with my pace of play. I feel like I'm playing an adequate pace. Do you mind just watching our game for a bit? I think that's probably the best solution. And then you can also say you feel like your opponent's being rude or rushing you or whatever. Your opponent will get hostile, I'm pretty sure. And then the judge can witness that or whatever. I think that's the best thing. Just call a judge instead of after the fact being like, oh, like I don't know if I felt comfortable or whatever in the spot. Like the answer is always just call a judge whenever you get to a spot where you're uncomfortable.
Aside from the fact that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say my last point was like I get that like you had enough time to finish your game, but like part of being good at Pokemon is like playing within the time constraints and like making like timely actions. Right? So even if you have like half an hour and like you're on the final turn, like you shouldn't take like 10 minutes to think through your turn, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what I have to say.
Aside from the fact that you're a Habs fan, I'll cut you some slack on that. I actually think that you're probably not completely in the wrong, because if you were taking 15 seconds, like I think you're being a little harsh on yourself. I don't think you're taking 15 seconds every action, because if you were, there's no way you as a Dragon Ball player are beating a Raging Bolt player in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's a little bit of both, right? I think maybe you're a little bit in the wrong for taking a while on some times, but you said yourself, like you're just trying to learn how to play the game and like sequence and stuff, right? Like I have a lot of empathy for that. But your opponent could also just chill out a little bit.
It's
like,
locals,
it's not that deep,
yeah,
man.
like
It's not that deep. Let's
agree.
not do all that. I think it's a little bit of both, is my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, I think that's all we had this week. I know Aneil and I have calls we have to jump to.
Shocker.
So, Kamil, we really appreciate you being on here. It was very exciting for me and Aneil to have you. I'm so happy for you. I'm really excited that you're going to be at Worlds with us this year. So just to end off the episode, Kamil, the floor is yours. Shout out whoever you want to shout out. Say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Go for it.
First I want to just I want to shout out your Medify group, because it's helped me be a lot better.
How much did you pay him to say that?
$0.
Actually, Kieran pays me to be in this. So
that's actually
good.
Bro, Kamil answers people's questions before I can get to them sometimes. I'm like, oh, this guy's great.
You mean like your
Exactly. So yeah, just thanks for that. I just want to shout out all my friends from Montreal who always who've kept supporting me. Jay, Dario, everyone from Montreal. Also the Milan community has been super nice, and I just want to shout out like all the people that I really tested a lot with, Charles, Dylan, everyone who went to Utrecht with me. I want to shout out Para for playing same 60, losing, winning in, but believing in the deck that I just gave him on like the Tuesday. And I think the one thing that I really changed about my prep, and I think something that people need to do a lot, is just that make sure you're playing a lot of games. The theoretical side of Pokemon just isn't enough, and people are just better. So you have to just play the games, get into those weird situations. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been a dream for a couple of years now, and I've been working hard to get here. So I'm glad I'm finally here.
Pretty bad dream.
You know what? Shoot for the stars, land somewhere in the clouds.
I like that. I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the moon, but yeah,
exactly.
What he said.
Exactly.
You heard it here first, folks. Get weird and dream about being on the Shift Gear podcast. That'll take you to big heights. You'll have top 8s all over the place. Kamil, man, thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure. I think this is a very entertaining episode, to say the very least. We look forward to doing it again soon. Let us know down below who your mid-season GOAT is, or I guess like your almost end-of-season GOAT. That's a tough one, so good luck making that decision. Kieran, any more shilling you got to do, or
that's good. Sign up for my camp below. Sign up for my Medify group. Sign up for Aneil's NAIC New Orleans bar crawl.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Actually, really organize that. I'll leave a link in the comments. Sign up for everything Kieran does. Don't bother about anything else. We will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for being here. Peace out.
Later.
Peace.